Hi, Miss Leonard's class. Hi, Riley. It's Riley's grandpa, and it's time for another story, another reading time. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hear we're going to have a video group meet on Wednesday this week, so hopefully, maybe I'll be a part of that. We'll see. Miss Leonard has a couple more books for us, and we'll read one more chapter out of the Judy Blume book. School's getting close to being almost over. I hope you guys are still doing good, reading all your stuff and doing all your work, taking care of your parents. That's important. And making sure that you guys all are sending pictures to Miss Leonard so that she can make your end of school video of all of the things that you guys did from when you got to school and then when we had to leave school because of the virus that's going around, and all the things that we've done since then. So let's get started. We have this book. It's called The Monster Who Ate My Peas. So let's see how this looks here. Okay. "Eat your peas," said my mom, "or you won't get dessert." I said, "Before peas, I would rather eat dirt." "I know you don't want to," she said with a glare, "but until they get eaten, you'll stay in your chair." I begged and I whined, I got down on my knees. "Please, Mommy, don't make me eat all of these peas." I stomped and I grumbled, I yelled and I pled. "Why can't I eat corn or potatoes instead?" "Eat up those peas, do it now," my mom said, "or you'll get no ice cream and you'll go straight to bed." I think over here we're kind of seeing maybe something's going to happen. My mom left the kitchen. I poked at those peas. Their sickening smell made me weak in the knees. Quickly I offered the peas to my pup, but Ralph barely sniffed them, then turned his nose up. I closed my eyes tightly and whispered a wish. "Please let these peas disappear from my dish." And something quite strange and mysterious occurred, almost as if somebody, somewhere, had heard. What's coming out of the trash can? For right out of nowhere a monster appeared. His hair looked like spinach, and so did his beard. His big bloated body was broccoli green, and his breath, when he sneered, reeked of rotten sardines. Each eyeball resembled a big Brussels sprout. His long, bumpy squash nose was sticking straight out. Large liver-like lips peeled back to reveal sharp teeth like a shark's and a tongue like an eel. Long octopus tentacles writhed from his torso. Quite gruesome already, those arms made him more so. His ears were like mushrooms, his chin like a beet, and he balanced himself on two big stinky feet. Just how he got in, I hadn't a clue. My heart skipped a beat as I asked, "Who are you?" That'd be a good question to ask. I think I'd get up and run away from the table. He growled, "I'm the monster who helps kids like you eat. I eat up their eggplant. I eat turnips too. I gobble down foods that make small stomachs quiver, like lima beans, collard greens, spinach, and liver. I came in reply to your pitiful plea, and I'm ready and willing to eat every pea. I'll eat up the big ones, I'll eat up the small ones, but then you must give me your new soccer ball." Let's see what happens. Will he give up his soccer ball for it? I thought of my soccer ball under my bed. I once bounced it 23 times on my head. But then when I looked at the peas on my plate, my brain filled with dread and disgust and with hate. "What is your answer?" the monster demanded. "I don't have much time, so I'll be very candid. Millions of kids want their yucky foods eaten, from Bali to Raleigh, from Chile to Sweden." Those are all different countries. And cities. "Okay," I said finally, "I'll give you my ball. Eat up my peas, eat them up, eat one and all. He laughed a cold laugh as he picked up each pea and swallowed them down individually. All 64 peas, slimy, gruesome, and green. He ate every one, and he licked the plate clean. And after he'd licked, and he lapped, and he slurped, he set down my plate, and he boorishly burped. Just then, as my mother came back in the room, he vanished, no trace, with a nose that went phoom. Mom looked at my plate and she shouted with glee, "You did it! You ate each and every pea!" She gave me a hug and my ice cream, so yummy, with chocolate on top, so good in my tummy. Then I went upstairs and peeked under my bed. I started to sweat, my heart filled with dread, for there in the spot where my ball used to be, there was only one very small, squishy green pea. And now when I want to play soccer with Dad, I think of that ball and I get very sad. If I've said it one time, I've said it 10. I won't make that a trade with that monster again. Not long after that, we had peas with our meal. The monster appeared with the same kind of deal. "I'll eat up your peas just as quick as you like, but then in return you must give me your bike." I thought of my bicycle, shiny and new. I'd spent my whole savings to buy it, that's true. But when I looked down at those gloppy green peas, I felt like you feel when you get a disease. "Okay," I said sadly, "I'll give you my bike. Just eat up these peas, get them out of my sight." The monster then opened his mouth very wide. He took all my peas and he dumped them inside. He chewed and he chomped and he swallowed them down. Then, boom, he was gone, off for some other town. My mom served me cake, but I just couldn't eat it. I walked to the door feeling down and defeated. I twisted the knob and I shuffled outside to get on my bike and go for a ride. I looked all around and I started to cry. My bike wasn't out there. I think you know why. And right in the space where my bike used to be, there was only one very small, mushy green pea. Now when my friends take their bikes for a ride, they never ask me, so I stay home inside. If I've said it one time, then I've said it again. I won't make a trade with that monster again. A week after that, there were peas in the stew. The monster showed up like he always would do. The words that he said made my whole body freeze. "Give me your puppy and I'll eat your peas." I looked down at Ralph. He gazed up at me. I looked at my plate, at each ghastly green pea. "Come on," growled the monster. "I'm already late. Just give me your dog and I'll finish your plate." What do you think he does? Does he give up his dog for somebody eating his peas? I looked at those peas and I just about gagged. I looked back at Ralph. His scruffy tail wagged. My pup put his cold little nose on my knees. I reached for my fork and I speared a small pea. I opened my mouth and I squinched up my eyes. The pea touched my tongue, and I got a surprise. The pea didn't taste like I thought that it would. I had to admit it, the pea tasted good. I picked up another and chewed it and swallowed. Each pea tasted better than those that had followed. I ate every pea till there wasn't a trace, and Ralph thanked me kindly by licking my face. I turned to the monster, that grumpy old guy, to say I don't need you, and told him goodbye. But right in the spot where the monster had stood was only a pea, and it tasted quite good. The pea monster went away. And now there's not one single food I won't try. If others can eat it, well then, so can I. I'm happier now than I ever have been, and I will never trade with a monster again. What a fun book. All right. Thank you, Miss Leonard, for that. That was very nice. Here is our second book, Moon, Earth's Best Friend. So, let's read it and see what happens. Look up, look up, look up. It's me, Moon. I'm Earth's best friend. Where Earth goes, I go. We have been together since the beginning. Well, almost. Let me tell you our story. Once upon a time. About 4.5 billion years ago, a space rock the size of Mars crashed into baby Earth. Big old mess. Pieces of rock, chunks of earth, and even lava were blasted into space. This crash trash came together to make me, a satellite. See if I can take this off for while I read it here, so I don't rip it trying to move things around. Actually, I'm Earth's only natural satellite. Natural means not created by Earthlings. Satellite means I circle the Earth. She has thousands of human-made satellites, too. They're mostly metal and plastic, not exactly best friend material. Guess that makes me Earth's #1 real sidekick. It takes me 27.3 days to go around the Earth once. It also takes me 27.3 days to spin once. Coincidence? I think not. Means I'm dependable. My face always smiles at Earth. You never see my backside. But you probably noticed I look different every night. Fun, right? Check out my phases. Waning crescent, last quarter, waning gibbous. Full moon, doesn't make wolves howl. Waxing gibbous. First quarter, waxing crescent. New moon. Wonder why they call it new moon, because it's all black. Some other planets have best friends too. I am Moon, but I'm not the only moon in the solar system. Jupiter has moons, Neptune has moons, Mars has moons, Saturn has moons, Uranus has moons. Io, Titan, Callisto, Ganymede, all of the moons. Of all of the moons, our moon is the 5th biggest. I'll always be Earth's pal, but that doesn't mean we're twinsies. She's bigger, 4 times bigger. And her gravity is 6 times stronger. Gravity is the invisible force that makes an apple fall to the ground instead of flying up into the sky. A cow that weighs 600 pounds on Earth would only weigh 100 pounds on me. Speaking of cows, Earth has cows and nursery rhymes starring cows, but a cow has never jumped over me. I'm too far away for even a kangaroo to make that leap. Average distance between the Earth and me is 238,855 miles. You could fit 30 Earths inside that distance and probably a gazillion cows. BFFs help each other out. I keep Earth from being too wobbly. This might be the most important thing I do, and you probably didn't even know about it. With me, gentle spinning, my gravity at work. Without me, topsy-turvy. Don't worry, moon gazers, you'll never be without me. I don't disappear during the day. I'm always here for Earth. You just can't see me when it's super bright out, or when it's cloudy, or when I'm on the other side of the Earth. I can prove I'm always here. Check out the ocean's tides. This is a science book. High tide happens twice a day, and low tide happens twice a day. That's gravity again. My gravity pulling on the Earth's oceans. Wow, that's pretty cool. I have the best views of Earth, and Earth has the best views of me. But some Earthlings wanted to see me up close. I'm the only other place in the universe where man has set foot, and I do mean man. I'm still waiting for my first female astronaut. I've had 12 moonwalkers and a few left footprints. And some of those footprints are still here, 'cause no wind or rain up here to mess them up. One thing you won't find on me is oxygen, mosquitoes, which is a good thing, I think, plants, animals, including cows, and liquid water. Things you will find on me are rocks, really big rocks, more rocks, nail clippers, really presents from Earth, stuff left behind by untidy astronauts, golf balls, falcon feather, American flag, and a hammer. Earth and I have so much fun together, like when we play Eclipse. Solar eclipse is when I hide the sun for a few minutes and we play this during the day. Lunar eclipse, Earth's shadow passes over me and we play this at night. We just had a solar eclipse a couple years ago. I'm always here for Earth. I'm always here for you. Earth, where Earth goes, I go. And where Earth goes, you go. Guess that makes us best friends too. Wow, that's a pretty cool book. Pretty nice. All right, so now we've got Judy Blume, Going, Going, Gone, With the Pain and the Great One. So they got lost and then they got found in the mall, remember? So let's see what's going to happen now. This chapter is called The Great One, and it's Say Cheese. Excuse me. We're going to visit Grandpa Pete for his birthday. Fluzzy can't come, so Charlie, our babysitter, is going to watch him. Goodbye, Fluzzy, I said, but Fluzzy wouldn't look at me. He knew we were going away and leaving him behind. I always feel sad when I have to say goodbye to Fluzzy. I wish I could pack him in my suitcase. Grandpa Pete lives in Florida. Not the Disney World part of Florida, not the beach part either. He lives in the Everglades city. It's the middle of nowhere, Florida. He never comes to visit us because he won't leave his birds. They're not really his birds, but that's what he calls them. Every morning and every night, Grandpa Pete hangs his binoculars around his neck and goes out in his canoe to watch them. He knows his birds the way Mom and Dad know me and the Pain. Maybe we'll see an alligator this time, the Pain sang. Maybe we'll see a snake. The Pain has a book, Wildlife of the Florida Everglades. He likes to look at the pictures. I don't want to see a snake, I told him. One time, Justin had a birthday party, the Pain said, and Reggie Reptile came with his snakes. One of them was a boa constrictor. That was so cool. I don't want to hear any more about snakes, I shouted. The Pain laughed. I decided to wear my cowboy boots on the plane. You don't need boots in Florida, Mom said when she saw me. Snakes can't bite through leather, I told her. Where did you hear that? She asked. I read it in the Pain's book. Mom shook her head, but she didn't say I couldn't wear my boots. When we got to Grandpa Pete's, he acted like he saw us yesterday, even though it's been a year. He's not the huggy kind of grandpa. He never says how much we've grown or how glad he is to see us. I've got something for you, Grandpa Pete said, holding out 2 cameras. Throwaways. You each get 24 pictures. You mean it's not a digital? The Pain asked. Digital, Grandpa Pete said, as if he'd never heard the word. "This camera uses film, Jacob." Grandpa Pete never calls the Payne Jake, only Jacob. "When you've taken all your pictures, the film gets developed into photos, so take your pictures carefully. You can't put more film on this camera." "Thanks, Grandpa Pete," I said. I elbowed the Payne. Oh, thanks," he said to Grandpa. He was already snapping pictures. "Say cheese," he said to Dad. He got him unpacking his underwear. "Say cheese," he said to Mom. He got her yawning. "Say cheese," he said to Grandpa Pete. He caught him scratching his belly. "You're going to be sorry," I told him. "You've only got 24 pictures. So," he said, "so we're going to be here 3 days. And when you run out, don't ask if you can use my camera because the answer is no." "Did I say I wanted to use your camera?" "I'm just telling you the rules." "Say cheese." He snapped a picture of me with my mouth wide open. "And stop taking my picture," I told him. He laughed. As soon as it was dark, we went to sleep on blow-up mattresses. Grandpa Pete doesn't have a TV. He doesn't have a computer or a cell phone either. His house is just a big screen porch with one small room inside. The screens keep most of the bugs out. There are plenty of bugs. Too many for Mom. She's always swatting at something. Early next morning, before the sun came up, Grandpa Pete woke the Payne and me. "Shh," he whispered, because Mom and Dad were sound asleep. We got into our long pants and long sleeve shirt and floppy hats. We grabbed our cameras, and outside, Grandpa Pete looked down at my cowboy boots. "You can't wear those in a canoe," he told me. "But I have to," I said. "They'll get wet." "That's okay, I don't mind." "She's afraid of snakes," the Payne told Grandpa Pete. "She thinks they can't bite her if she's wearing boots." "I always thought it was alligators that couldn't bite through leather," Grandpa Pete said. Kind of funny, huh? Alligators, too? That made me feel even better about wearing my boots. Grandpa Pete sprayed us with citronella to keep away the mosquitoes. Then we headed for his old Jeep. Miss Memory was waiting for us. Miss Memory's Grandpa Pete's best friend. No kidding, that's her real name, Memory Clark. She lives next door. Grandpa Pete said, "I don't have to worry about forgetting things because I've always got my memory with me." He makes the same joke every time we visit. The Payne doesn't get it. He says he does, but I can tell he doesn't. Miss Memory is a birder, too. A birder is someone who watches birds. There are more than 350 kinds of birds in the Everglades, and I think Grandpa Pete and Miss Memory know them all. The Payne got into Grandpa Pete's canoe, and I went with Miss Memory. Grandpa Pete has rules for canoeing in the Everglades. Rule number 1 is look and listen. If we see something interesting, we can point at it, but we can't call out. That's the hardest part for the Payne. He has no self-control, but he knows Grandpa Pete will leave him behind if he can't keep still. And then he'll never get to see an alligator in the wild. Canoeing in the Everglades is like being on another planet. It's so quiet. Everywhere you look, it's just water. Little islands full of birds and us. No other people, just the lap, lap, lap of our canoes paddling along. Click, I snapped a picture of a pink and white bird with a beak that looked like a spoon. Click, I got a shot of a really big turtle. Click, I got an osprey flying overhead. Click, I got a Grandpa Pete and the Payne in their canoe. So far, no snakes, no alligators either. I can't decide if I want to see an alligator or not. Suppose I see one and I get so scared I scream. Suppose the alligator swims under our canoe and tips it over. Then what? We went out in the canoes twice a day, early in the morning, just before sunset, and just before sunset. On our last day, Miss Memory invited me over to keep her company while she baked a pineapple upside-down cake. "It's your grandpa's favorite," she said. "My favorite is chocolate," I told her. "If you come back for your birthday, I'll bake you a chocolate cake." "That's really nice, but my birthday's July 4th. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I didn't want to say we have a party every year and all the relatives come except Grandpa Pete, even though he's invited. Later, Miss Memory said to Mom and Dad, "I wish you'd stay longer. 3 days is nothing." "I'd say it's just about the right time," said Grandpa Pete. "Any longer and they'd be bored, or I might get sick of them." "Pete," Miss Memory said, "they don't know you're kidding." "Who's kidding?" Grandpa Pete said. I couldn't tell if he was or if he wasn't. "I want to stay until I see an alligator," the Payne said. "Why don't we just take them to Gatorama on the way to the airport tomorrow?" Grandpa Pete gave Mom a look. "That's for tourists," he said. "It's the real deal or nothing for my grandchildren. Mom grew up in the city. What does she know about alligators?" Just before supper, we went out in the canoes again. I must have been hungry because I was thinking about Miss Memory's pineapple upside down cake and wondering if I'd like it. I like cake and I like pineapples, but I've never tried them together upside down. Suddenly I had a creepy feeling. It wasn't just quiet or the gray sky. I felt prickles on the back of my neck. I sat straight up, the way Fuzzy does when he knows something's going to happen. And then I saw them in the distance. First, it was their snouts. Then they lifted their heads. Alligators! I looked over at the pane, but I could tell he and Grandpa Pete didn't see them yet. If they did, they'd be pointing. I turned my head to look at Miss Memory, but she was paddling along, same as always. I was the only one who saw them, just me. They were my secret. I picked up my camera. Say cheese, I told them inside my head. I was already thinking of how I could tell Miss Valdez, my science teacher, about seeing 4 alligators right in front of us. I'd say close enough to touch. That wasn't true, but it made a better story. I was so glad I was wearing my leather cowboy boots. But how would I feel if Payne saw alligators and he didn't tell me? Not that the Payne has ever kept a secret in his entire life, but still, it would be unfair. So I pointed. Miss Memory stopped paddling and pointed too. Then Grandpa tapped Payne on the shoulder and pointed. The Payne clapped his hands over his mouth. He was so excited he started rocking the canoe. If he fell in and got eaten by an alligator, Mom and Dad would really be mad at Grandpa Pete. 2 of the alligators crawled up on one of the small islands. My hands shook as I snapped pictures of them. After a minute, Miss Memory started paddling backward very slowly, very quietly. Grandpa Pete did the same. The alligators didn't see us, at least. I don't think they did. When we got back to the house, the Payne started yelling, Alligators! We saw alligators! I hope you weren't close to them, Mom said. Close enough to touch, the Payne sang. When he saw the looks on Mom and Dad's face, he laughed. Ha ha, fooled you, didn't I? So you didn't see alligators, Dad asked. We did, I told Dad. 4 of them. We took pictures. Really, Pete? Grandma's mom said to Grandpa, I hope you were thinking about their safety. I always think about the alligator's safety, Grandpa Pete said. The next day we flew home. Fuzzy pretended not to care we were back. He had that I don't even see you look on his face. But he couldn't fool me. I knew he missed us. When I got into my bed, Mom came in holding up my boots. I don't think we're ever going to dry these out. She sniffed inside them and made a face. I already knew they smelled terrible, like the muck we walked through every time we went in the canoes. But I was hoping Mom would know what to do. We're going to have to throw them away, she said. They're ruined. But I love those boots, I cried. Well, Abigail, she said. She didn't say anything else. She just carried them out of my room. Can I get another pair? I called. We'll see. That probably meant no. The next day, Dad dropped off our film to be developed. He came home with the pictures that night. I couldn't wait to see how mine turned out. I knew they would be good. I knew they'd be way better than the Paynes. I opened the envelope and took out the pictures. What? I thought as I flipped through half of them. These can't be my pictures, I cried. They were so blurry you couldn't make anything out. I grabbed Payne's envelope. Let me see. Hey, he said before I could stop, he grabbed my envelope. He checked out my pictures while I checked out his. But these couldn't be mine either. They were all black. You had your hand over the lens, I told the Payne. Not every time. He said, look at this one, he held up. It was a perfect picture of an alligator. Only our alligators came out all right. But only my alligator looked like it was saying cheese. Huh. So their pictures came out, just the alligator pictures. We have one more very small chapter. You know what? Let's go ahead and finish it. It's only like a couple pages here, I think. Yep. So let's do it. Fuzzy in Charge is the title. See if I care if they go anyway. See if I care if they leave me home with the babysitter. I'll show them how much I care. As soon as they're gone, I race into his room. His elephant is gone. He took his elephant with him, but not me. See if I care. Next, I tear down the hall to her room. I jump into her bed and sniff everything. I bite her troll doll. I pull its hair. Then I knock it onto the floor and hide it under the bed. When I get thirsty, I slurp from the toilet bowl. The babysitter says, Fuzzy, that's disgusting. You have your own water dish. See if I care what the babysitter says. I hide in Mom's closet, way in the back, behind the coats. The babysitter can't find me. She calls, Fluzzy, where are you? Fluzzy, what am I going to tell them if you get lost? How can I get lost when she won't let me out of the house? When she finally opens the closet, I jump out and hiss at her. Shh! See if I care how loud she screams. At night, I chase toy mice. I skid across the floor, then back again. She calls, Fluzzy, you're driving me crazy. See if I care. In the morning, I fly down the stairs and leap onto the kitchen counter. I paw at everything. Spices fall over. Jelly beans tumble to the floor. Sugar pills spills from the bowl. It crunches when I walk in it like snow. Fluzzy, she cries when she sees the mess. Let's get this straight. I'm in charge. Ha ha, that's what they think, too. You don't want me to tell them you're a bad kitty, do you? She says. A bad kitty? Me? They'd never believe that. They might not come back if they think you're a bad kitty, she says. But she can't scare me. They always come back. And when they do, I'll pretend I didn't even know they were gone. That is the end of that book. Very nice. Thank you, Miss Leonard, for sharing your book choices with us. They're very fun books. I hope all of you enjoyed the reading. I'm hoping to see you guys on Wednesday. And you guys take care. Love you, Riley. Bye, Miss Leonard's class.